Okay team, whole new style of video today. I'm calling it the river Copilot, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to post a raw GoPro lap down a river, and I'm going to be in this little box on the right hand side explaining how to get the best lines out on the river, telling you what to avoid out there, and also sharing with you what I'm working on with my own kayaking to try and improve. And let's just get straight into it. We're at the top of the Wellerbrücke section on the Utz River. And I like to start one eddy higher up than a lot of other people do, and it was Sven Lamler that showed me this, and the first time I did it I was like, why haven't I been doing this whole time? And it's cool because you get a whole extra booth, and you also have to land that first tricky little booth and immediately be looking ahead to line yourself up for the next booth. And like I said, let's just get straight into it here. Pushing off the rock, and then you'll see me, I put a little bit of spit on the lens of the GoPro and then splash it off. You'll see me do that multiple times on this lap, and that's by far the best way to keep the GoPro lens clear and to keep water droplets off it. Coming out of this eddy here is a bit of a tricky move. You've got to come out at the top, immediately turn, pick some speed up, drop your edge and pull yourself over this first tricky little booth, but it goes really good. And then you're landing in that boiling water and then immediately looking for that next point to go off, and then nice lefty booth and we're into the next rapid. You can just read and run this rapid, but you want to be aware of there's a really nice looking booth out in the middle, but it lands onto rocks and it's quite messy. So about halfway down this rapid, you really want to be heading to the right of it. You can go left if you have to, but I don't think it's as nice as the right. However, there are a couple of nice moves in here, and the first one is this cushion booth, and I like to try and get as high off this thing as I can, launch my kayak in the air as high as I can, and then land hard on that left edge to line me up for the next booth. And I don't know if you'll spot this, but what I'm doing is I'm turning my booth into a rudder, and I don't actually end up having to use the rudder, but what I'm doing there is to have it in place ready in case I need it to set me up for the rest of the rapid. And that's something I learned from following Dave Facili throughout various times on the river. And one of the coolest things for me with Dave's style is not only how well he works with the water and how confident he is, but also how he's constantly turning one stroke into another one and just slicing that paddle around and just perfectly blending all these strokes together. And I feel that's a true mark of a really good kayaker, so that's something I'm always working on. And then I'm out in the middle of the rapid here, and I'm looking for this dry rock on the right hand side. I'm trying to tuck in as hard as I can behind that and stay dry, because just to the left of it is the curler pulling me towards that rock in the rapid that I was talking about earlier. And then I'm bobbing and weaving and rocking the kayak up over these waves and trying to stay dry as I head towards this slab booth. Really nice feeling. I'm trying to match the angle of the rock with my kayak so I get a nice smooth transition from water to rock and back to water, and making sure I snap the kayak back to flat as I come off the rock. And then here I'm squiggling in between these two holes. I'm lining myself up, and way off in the distance you're going to see these tree branches hanging over the river. And I'm going to hit those on purpose, because earlier this year I was put off by a line on a waterfall because the tree branches were hanging straight over the lip, and I was intimidated by them because I thought they might flip me, I thought they might pull the paddle out of my hands, or just plain mess me up at the lip of the waterfall, which is not what you want. And I was mad at myself for not being confident enough to deal with that hazard on the river, and so now I'm taking any opportunity I can to work on that. So yeah, smashing through the tree branches now, immediately hitting that right booth behind it, and then driving up onto the next slab booth and landing. From here, we have a little bit of breathing space and time after that first rapid, and I love that thing. It's one of my favorite parts to this river. Really flowy, really nice moves, and quite clean. This section here it changes with the water levels dramatically as it gets lower. You've got to do some different squiggling amongst the rocks, and I'm just going to fast forward the video here so we skip all this smaller stuff. And then now we're coming into the first island rapid of the Wellerbrücke, and a lot of people run this on the hard right hand side on the entry, but I prefer to go left because I get to hit this first booth, and I also like it because I land and I immediately have trajectory over towards where I want to be, as opposed to coming in with just downstream momentum and having this curler potentially push you left. So I like hitting that with some left to right momentum. And then here I'm trying to just put my nose and my left hand side of the kayak on the curler and let it just pull me to the left of the rapid. And what I'm trying to do is get as tight to this rock as I can, but not that tight. Not that tight. I didn't mean to hit the rock there. That was a little bit of a mistake on my end, and I have to brace and adjust and then carry on with the rest of the rapid, which is irritating for you guys, for me to have to show you guys me making a mistake, because I'm always trying to kayak as clean and as perfect as I can, but it happens to everyone, and you just got to brush it off, fix it, and carry on going down the river. Again, a little bit of breathing space and time here, and we're coming into island 2 of the Wellerbrücke, and you can go right here, you can start right and go left, or you can just go left. And I'm going left at the moment because it's a bit of a tricky move, because you have to come off this booth, land, and then get as high up on the next one as you can, but also pull your nose back to the left. And normally I would try and do this with a left hand stroke, and to really drop my edge into it. This lap, I don't know what's going on, but I can't line myself up nicely for that left hand stroke, so I have to change my plan. And what I do is I get up as high on the rock as I can, I take a righty and pry myself off it, and it still works, but it's not what I want, because it's not as smooth. It feels, I'm really trying to look for what the water wants me to do down a rapid, and for that one I feel like the water wants me to just lean to the left and just smoothly transition up and over that rock, whereas the right feels like I'm fighting it a little bit more. But here's what it is. Again, it's all about fixing problems quickly and not letting it bother you as you roll into the next rapid when you're kayaking on harder water. And now we're landing, and we're coming straight into this next booth, and what I'm trying to do is come off the inside of the booth and land hard and aggressive on my left edge, because then I carve nicely to the left, and it sets me up for this beautiful green hump. And this is one of the best moves on the river, right? You're coming up it, a little bit of edge, trying to go straight over the top. I see some people go to the right here, and I never really get why. Like, just go straight over the top of this thing, try and get that kayak as high in the air as you can, because it feels great. And then you're landing, and the water sort of wants to pull you to the left here, and you don't want that, because that puts you in the middle of the next slab booth. This is an auto booth, it's great, but there's two things to be aware of. Number one is that there is a rock on the middle of the booth, and it does not feel that good if you hit it, so avoid that. And what you want to do is go off this right hand point of the slab booth, but be aware that that rock on the right is undercut. It's not terrible, but it is undercut, and it is there. So come straight off that point, then you're lining yourself up here. This part changes with different water levels, but what I like to do, regardless of the level most of the time, is to go directly into it with all the speed from coming off that slab booth. And I'm trying to be on the left hand side of, you see this little rooster tail green bump thing? I'm trying to be on the left hand side of that, and I'm just feeling it out, waiting until it feels right, and then I'm pulling a lefty booth to keep my nose dry and skipping through there. I see a lot of people, they go for that eddy on the right hand side behind the rock, they take a bit of a breather, which is good to do, and then they come out of that eddy with no speed on the right hand side of that little rooster tail, and they sort of just fall into it and plug it. And I haven't seen that many people get stuck in that pocket or surf necessarily, but it just doesn't feel good, we're always trying to be clean and smooth out there. So my recommendation for you is to just go direct, hit it with speed off the left hand side, lefty booth, and just land. And then you're coming down here, there's an eddy on the left if you want to take it. There's more eddies on the left before this main rapid, but I'm going to go direct because I really like trying to stay in the main flow on this river, and what I'm personally working on all the time is to try and link up every single move on this river as smoothly as I can, even though at this point I'm starting to get a little bit tired and fatigued, and it's just really good training and practice, and I love the Wellerbrücke for that. So going direct here, this is a little bit of a tricky move. You got to come through these two rocks and then move tight towards that left hand side of a rock. Nice sweeping turning lefty booth, line you up, another lefty booth that comes really fast now, and then this cushion wave. What you want to do is go straight through this, but drop your edge slightly to the right, and it's just going to put you on this rock slab, and from there you get a nice auto booth. Coming off that auto booth, and then landing and driving left. And this is the main rapid that you see from a bridge. Looks really intimidating. It's not that bad. I always go left on this rapid, but I do know that people have been right, whether on purpose or by accident, and it's fine and it goes, but I think it's much better to go left. So driving out towards the left. On another earlier lap today, I stayed with the water and I came in too hot, and it didn't set me up very nicely for the next move underneath the bridge. So here I'm cutting harder into that slow water, going over the drier part of the rock, and then I'm landing, and it's putting me in a much better position for this next move. And this rapid changed a lot after this year's floods. Used to be a double drop, used to drive as hard left to right as you could, but now a rock's falling in, and if you try and drive hard left to right, then you get out in front of the rock, and then all that fast water coming in hits your kayak while you've got your left edge dropped, and it just smashes you into that rock. And I'm still bleeding a little bit from like a week or two ago when I made that mistake, so I'm not doing that line anymore. What I'm trying to do is come tight to this big left-hand rock, looking down it, hitting that first rock here, this first like kicker, and then I'm just feeling it out, keeping my kayak nice and light and balanced. And it normally goes pretty good from there. I haven't had a bad line doing that line in a long time, so that's what I'd recommend with this recent change to the river. And then now we're going straight into the Wellerbrücke race course. This is where the Utz Trophy will happen this year, which is really exciting. And I'm a little bit gassed at this point. I think I don't know what the timer is at, but I think I'm at 6 minutes. And yeah, it's a different world hitting this race course. When I look at the video footage when I'm hitting it fresh and full of power compared to now when I've been kayaking hard for a couple of minutes. And coming down now, I get a little bit wet off this first booth. That annoys me because I'm trying to be perfect, especially on this section of river. And then lining myself up for this next slab booth, I should have been about this much further left, and that would have given me a nicer booth and a nicer transition. But I'm just a little bit off, which is annoying, but it's okay. We're still coming through there with plenty of speed, just not quite as dry as I would like to be. And then again, this is a part on the race where you'll see people sprinting really hard. What I'm trying to do is take a little bit of a breather, pick my energy up for the next set of moves, lining myself up for the next move off this slab. This is a little bit intimidating you first time to do it, and this sets the tone of where you'll go for the next part of the rapid, so it's a good one to get right. What I'm trying to do when I'm at a distance from it is I'm trying to line my nose up with that big wooden viewing spectator platform, and from a distance that sort of sets me up relatively well, and then I get closer and I can adjust properly for it. And you just have to hit this line a few times before you get confident coming at it guns blazing with speed. But that's my recipe for success when I haven't been here in a while, or when I'm talking people through the line, is aim your nose at that big wooden platform, and then as you get closer, look ahead and adjust properly on the river. Various different ways to come off this slab. What I'm trying to do is land and go straight out to the middle of the river. And I'm doing this because there's a booth in the middle of the river, and what I'm working on is trying to hit moves while I'm tired on this lap down the river. The race line for sure, if the race happens anywhere near this level, will be on the left in all that fast water. But I'm going to move out to the middle again because it's just adding another move that I have to hit right now while I'm getting really tired. And I'm coming off this booth, landing, adjusting, turning back to the left, trying to keep my nose dry through the middle of TNT, which also changed. It's nowhere near as bad of a hole as it used to be, which is sort of nice, I guess. And then -1 changed a lot after the last couple of floods here. And it used to be that the left-hand side was completely open and it was a green tongue and you just went through it. Now it's closed out and it's more of a wave hole throughout all of it, so you have to try really hard here to get as hard left as you can, and just to try and pull your kayak up as high as you can, and just try and get up and away and try and get as hard over that wave hole as you possibly can. Otherwise you sort of get pitted and it's just rubbish as you line yourself up for Champions Killer. I really like having Champions Killer as the final move here. It's a whole new world now that I've been kayaking for a few minutes. I'm starting to get a little bit tired, as opposed to when I'm hitting it fresh from the top of the race course. So I'm coming down now, making sure that I'm getting a little bit of a lean and really getting my weight forwards as I roll down the lip, and then pulling hard, snapping the kayak flat, and just trying to really land and drive towards that slot. I really like that combination of like a little bit of a tricky late booth, which requires a bit of power, and straight into a precision move through that slot over the boils to finish. And that's always a good marker for me of whether I'm in shape and whether I'm kayaking well, if I hit that and I'm still feeling good, you know. Whereas sometimes when I've had a little bit of a break or I haven't been training that much, then I'm so gassed coming through there. It's a different world, you know. I'm just breathing heavily, sort of just taking those little tired dabby strokes through it, whereas what I'm trying to work on now is still maintaining nice smooth paddle strokes that I was taking up at the top. And yeah, that is a top to bottom lap down the Wellerbrücke. I really hope that helps you guys if you're coming here for the Urge Trophy and you want to kayak the upper section, because there's not that much information about it and people are often intimidated and put off by it. But in my opinion, I think it's I love it. I think it's such a cool bit of water, and it's no harder than the race course, just perhaps a little bit more consequential, and you need to spend a bit of time learning the lines out there or to follow a local. But yeah, I hope this video helped. It's been a little bit hard trying to decide how much information to give you guys, because I could talk for hours about all these lines and what I'm working on. I'm trying to keep it short so you guys retain the information, but if you have any questions or you want to know more, just comment below and I'll answer them. And yeah guys, I hope you have a wicked end to the summer. I hope anyone coming for Urge Trophy has smooth, safe travels and gets to kayak on this section of river. And yeah, I'll catch you guys on the water.